I think all of us as leaders should be responsible in what we say and be a bit measured, and hopefully we can try and avoid one of the things that happened in the past.
Yeah, it's fine what you say, but on the ground, a lot of people listen to you. A lot of people watch this show, for instance. What do you tell your people on the ground? What do you tell people who want to vote for you when it comes to hate speech, when it comes to people they lived with all their lives or for generations, and suddenly they become the enemy?
Okay, I mean, us as leaders, as I said, we have to be measured, we have to be responsible, in which I think a lot of us are. In fact, the people who seem to make some of the terrible utterances are actually just a very small percentage of the people who are actually out there talking. Most leaders do try and measure their words and try and avoid inflammatory speeches. However, I agree with the Secretary General over here that what we would need is also those in charge and authority to at least take more concrete measures, because there have been no convictions, there have been no serious measures happen after the initial arrest and arraigning before record a statement. But beyond that, we would hope to see some concrete action so that hopefully people are deterred from doing it in future.
Absolutely. SG, I mean, at the end of the day, there's some people who may say, you know what, this is eating into our freedom of expression.
No, I think there is a very clear demarcation of the boundaries of freedom of expression under the Constitution, that in fact it ousts advocacy for war, hate speech and all the others. That is a realm that the freedom of speech does not extend to. Part of the frustration that we have seen, and I speak from the perspective of ODM or the opposition generally, is that there seems to be some sort of pressure to only prosecute hate speech cases when you can prosecute people from both sides of the divide. That if Sifuna misbehaves today, they cannot just prosecute me because there will be noise that, munatuonea sisi, ama you are only focusing on our side, and they will wait for somebody else from the other side to misbehave. At least that has been my experience, that if they cannot arraign two people together. It has happened in previous matters that you will hear somebody say something very outrageous, but that if there is nobody from the other side so that they can be arraigned together, so that we can be seen that we are doing, I think something wrong should just be viewed from the prism of right and wrong. And it doesn't really matter whether there are other people that can accompany you when you're going to take plea. You should be able to take plea immediately. So we have cases and cases, and I know that sometimes it's difficult to talk about these things because we are, nobody is perfect. I myself have found myself on the wrong end of the law once, although it was not particularly something that was criminal. But I went to the NCIC, had a very good conversation with Reverend Kobia, who advised me as a father. In fact, for me, he told me that what they had called me for was that they were disappointed. In his own words, there are some bad manners in generations of older generations of politicians that they would not like to see our generation, inherit or continue. That in fact there are good things we can learn from the older politicians, but there are some things that just for the sake of this country and its future, there is hope that we can leave some of these things behind. So when I spoke to Reverend Kobia, his biggest pain was that he was disappointed in us. He said, Sifuna, your name should not be brought up amongst some of his names. And they let me go because it did not reach the threshold of criminality. But I also understood why people would be disappointed in me as Sifuna being or appearing to be tending towards those bad manners. Because apparently people have some hope in us as the next generation of political leaders.
By the way, how old are you?
I'm turning 40 in May.
Congratulations.
I'm amused that he's talking of ODM as the opposition. In fact, I wanted to challenge that, and I thought I should just let him finish because it's shocking. These people are government. There's nothing more government than them.
Go on.
Government is not something that you assign. It is something that is assigned at the poll by the people of.
So, are you government?
I am not government. If I was government, you would know it. You would see it. And
we do see it. We do see it in their rallies. We do see security. We do see them being escorted with government machinery. So we definitely see that this is government.
You see, the beauty is that I came here with my car. We will walk outside after this show and you can show me the security that Sifuna has. Because if government has assigned the SG of ODM any security, you would see it. It's not something you can hide. So we have fought these claims from the time that the handshake happened. I can guarantee you, my friend, if ODM was a government party, you would probably be speaking to a cabinet secretary, Sifuna. None of the people in ODM sit in cabinet. Your party leader is still the deputy president of the republic. He's the one who sits in those cabinet meetings. There is not a single ODM appointee in cabinet. And they like to throw this thing to us so that they escape responsibility. There's a responsibility that the Kenyan people gave to the current government at the election. If you are unable to do the job, please don't scapegoat. Just accept that you have been unable to do the job. And as Baba said, get out of the way. In 2022, we show you how this thing is done.
Mahesh, you have to respond to this, huh?
Look, you know, it is extremely clear that there is a preferred individual who the state machinery is working towards, and that is definitely Baba, as he's just mentioned. And so, I mean, when we look at everything that is being done, clearly it is in one direction. So I would politely